Okay, let's come to GSLV Mark II, our 4th generation rocket. अब देखो, GSLV is 4th generation rocket, we understand that. GSLV is an expandable launch system. Expandable का मतलब पता है? मतलब यहाँ पे भी strap on motors का facility होगा. Fine, we understand that. Where is it used? अब देखो GSLV का full form क्या है? Geosynchronous Launch Vehicle. PSLV was Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. The primary purpose of PSLV was what? Launching satellite in sun synchronous polar orbit, but it can launch smaller satellites into geosynchronous orbit only also. But GSLV किस लिए बनाया गया था? GSLV was primarily made for launching satellites into geosynchronous orbit. और geosynchronous orbit में क्या जाता है? Communication satellite, है ना? Some remote sensing satellite may also go, but remote sensing satellite we would want कि it will remain in low Earth orbit because it should remain closer to Earth to take better pictures of Earth. To sense Earth remotely, we would want it to be nearer to Earth. If it's 36,000 kilometers away, it will not be able to take that great a picture. बात समझ में आ रही है? तो GSLV, Geosynchronous Launch Vehicle, was primarily developed for launching our communication satellite into geosynchronous transfer orbits. The rocket itself will not go to geostationary orbit or geosynchronous orbit. The rocket will launch the satellite into transfer orbits. तो GSLV 4th generation, purpose क्या था GSLV? Communication satellite into geosynchronous transfer orbit. We understand the reason for it. Not in geosynchronous orbit, geosynchronous transfer orbit. तो जैसे अपना जो communication satellite series है ना, that is GSAT series. So initially it was INSAT series. Now तो INSAT नाम के जो satellite थे, those were our communication satellite. Now we are launching GSAT series of satellites. So geosynchronous orbit, or sorry, GSLV was primarily developed for this purpose. Got it? Got it? Now, it was first launched in 2001 and first successful flight was in 2003. ठीक है. PSLV हमने 1990s में डेवलप किया था, GSLV हमने 2000 में डेवलप किया. First launch in 2001 failed like PSLV. Second launch in 2003, that was a successful launch. But still GSLV is called a naughty boy. GSLV को निकनेम दिया गया है naughty boy का. Why? Because it's not very reliable. बदमाश बच्चा होता है ना, पापा बोलते हैं बिजली का बिल भर के आ जाना, वो जाके पार्टी करके आ जाता है उन पैसों का. It is also doing something similar. Many a times when it is asked go and launch this satellite, वो रास्ते में कुछ गड़बड़ कर देता है and the satellite doesn't launch. So far it has had 16 launches and there have been 4 failures. 25% of the time there have been failures, which in case of PSLV is only around 3%. यहाँ पे 25% of the time there have been failure and that is why it is called what? Naughty boy. It has been given the name naughty boy. ये बात समझ में आ गई? Okay. Now, reasons for failures. What is it that is making GSLV fail? It is basically the cryogenic engine. तो GSLV में ना, actually let's first come to this part, technology and capabilities वाला part. We'll understand the concept of cryogenic engine and then we'll go to why GSLV is failing so much. So it's a 3-stage engine. PSLV में 4 stages थे. GSLV has 3-stage engine: solid, liquid and cryogenic engine. GSLV का first stage is using what fuel? Solid fuel. Second stage is using what fuel? Liquid fuel. Third stage is using what fuel? Cryogenic, which is also liquid fuel. Cryogenic fuel is also liquid fuel. But let's understand. देखो, शुरू में we'll need a lot of thrust. Solid fuel makes sense. शुरू में we'll need a lot of thrust. Solid fuel makes sense. उसके बाद we need some specific impulse, etc. But you'll say, sir, why cryogenic? Because cryogenic fuel has best specific impulse. Or I should rather say, hydrogen as a fuel has best specific impulse. Last stage में हमें क्या चाहिए ज्यादा? Last stage में we need more specific impulse. Now some students had doubts about specific impulse. I'll explain them again. देखो, what is impulse? Impulse is force into time. This is impulse. Let's say my force is 1000, but time is only 0.1. what will be the output? Only 100, है ना? ऐसे ही अगर force is 0.01 and time is 1000, what will be the impulse? 100. But if my force is let's say 100 and time is also 100, force बहुत ज्यादा नहीं, कम है, but time sufficiently ज्यादा है, या time बहुत ज्यादा नहीं, कम है, but in this case what is my impulse? 10,000. So at very large heights, when we are further very far away from Earth, do we require a lot of force? No. When we are very far away from Earth, Earth की gravity से बहुत दूर है, will require very less force, but we need it for a lot of time. So a lot of force for a short time is not needed, है ना? Very less force for short time, for a lot of time may not be needed. What is needed? Sufficient amount of force for sufficient amount of time. We need any fuel which has good impulse per kg. Impulse per kg becomes what? Specific impulse. So what is impulse? What is specific impulse? What is specific impulse? It is impulse that you will achieve with every kg of fuel. So which fuel has the best specific impulse? Hydrogen. Now hydrogen has best specific impulse, so we want in third stage we should be using hydrogen, but hydrogen is a gas, it will require large volume, है ना? गैस है तो आपको उसे लिक्विड में कन्वर्ट करना पड़ेगा. हाइड्रोजन becomes liquid at temperature less than -250 degree Celsius. Hydrogen becomes liquid at temperatures less than -250 degree Celsius. तो आपको अपने फ्यूल को किस टेम्परेचर पे रखना पड़ेगा? Less than -250 degree Celsius. Less than -250 degree Celsius is like cryogenic stage, very cold stage. Are we able to understand this? So here hydrogen is used as fuel, but what hydrogen? Liquid hydrogen. Why liquid? Because otherwise space required would be very, volume required would be very large. आप हाइड्रोजन को गैस के फॉर्म में लेके जाओगे तो it will require a lot of volume. You convert it into liquid, but it will remain liquid at very low temperature. That is why the fuel is called cryogenic fuel. और सिर्फ हाइड्रोजन is not good enough. Hydrogen will have to be converted, burned, no? So you will also need to carry oxygen. Oxygen is also what? Gas. ऑक्सीजन को भी आपको बहुत लो टेम्परेचर पे रखना पड़ता है. तो here both fuel and oxidizer have to be kept at very, very low temperature. Therefore, this engine is cryogenic engine, but we use it why? Because this fuel has best specific impulse. Because this fuel has best specific impulse. Do we understand this? In GSLV, what is the fuel that you have? First stage solid, second stage liquid, third stage cryogenic, because we use liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen, and for hydrogen and oxygen to be kept at liquid, the temperature has to be less than -250 degree Celsius. बात समझ में आई? Okay. This it has this 3-stage engine. तो पहला एक फीचर आपने देखा, it has 3-stage engine. Second, its capability to GTO. What was the capability of PSLV to GTO? 1400. Around 1400 kg, है ना? एक PSLV XL जो सबसे पावरफुल PSLV रॉकेट है, it will be able to carry around 1400 kg to GTO. So if we had a communication satellite जिसका weight was 2000 kg, we'll have to depend on other countries. So we developed GSLV. GSLV can inject 2.5 ton. 2.5 ton is 2500 kg. To where? To geosynchronous transfer orbit. नीचे वाले orbit में it can carry up to 4000-5000 kg. To low Earth orbit, it can carry 4000-5000 kg. But what are we looking for? We are looking for this. Do we get this? Do we understand this? So PSLV to GTO 1400 kg, 1425. GSLV Mark II to GTO. How much weight of satellite can it carry? 2500 kg. बात समझ में आई? Now let's come back to GSLV being naughty boy. Why is GSLV referred as naughty boy. It is referred as naughty boy because 25% of its launches have failed. Why has it failed? It has been primarily because of the third stage, cryogenic engine. Now, initially we got cryogenic engine from Russia, but Russia से ना हमें technology नहीं मिली थी. We developed our own cryogenic engine by reverse engineering that cryogenic engine, and there were some issues, there were some problems there, which have led to failures. But now it is being said that for GSLV Mark III, the 5th generation aircraft, this is the 4th generation. For 5th generation aircraft, we have developed our own cryogenic engine from scratch, and therefore in future problems should not occur for GSLV Mark III. We have clarity here? Okay.